My World Without Walls experience began just about 6 months ago. I had been living in a beautiful house up on Mount Tamalpais. It had been my home for just about 18 years. The situation I lucked into. A friend of mine, a musician, Elaine, lived under the carport, and she had 2 cats. And when Elaine would go on the road on a gig, she needed someone to take care of her cats. So I would come by and take care of her cats and stay in her place while she was gone. And one day I came by and she said, "John, you want your own place?" And I thought, sure. Unbeknownst to me, the bottom floor of the house was also an apartment, and the woman who had been living there was moving out. And so I moved in. That was just about the year 2000. And I stayed there for 18 years. And I continued to take care of Elaine's cat when she would go out on tour. And it became my home and my nest, where I wrote 15 books. But there came a time when the woman who owned the house, an artist by the name of Charlotte, came into ill health. She had been living in a retirement, or rather a rehab facility, for almost 10 years after she had a stroke. But it became apparent that she wasn't going to make it much longer. And so last November she passed away. Her brother Howard, who had been my landlord, made it clear that the house was going to be sold and I had to leave. The first day of my new life wasn't easy. I had been moving my stuff out of the place for, the better part of a month, I guess, getting it ready to move into storage. And that particular day, a huge storm came in, March 1st, biggest storm of the year. And I spent almost all day moving boxes, and I was exhausted, not knowing how the evening would unfold. And I came right here, and I put down a mat. I think it was one of those memory foam mattresses that Elaine and her partner, Tracy, had slept on. Elaine cut it in half so I could carry it, and I put it right there. And the wind howled, coming in from the ocean. The temperature was in the mid-30s. I shivered through the night, hardly got a wink of sleep. And the next morning, I got up, took my sleeping bag and the memory foam and readied it and walked down this path in a howling wind and rainstorm with an umbrella that was being bent in the wind down to the Y where I had parked my car, because you can't park up here overnight. And I went down this path, not knowing what was ahead for me. Just trusting. Trusting. Trusting that everything that was happening in my life was happening with reason. All in all, it's worked out pretty good. And I'll explain why.